Today we are looking at designs from the Sly Cooper series, starting with Sly 2, because that's the only game in the series that Brett and I both played. The designs in the Sly Cooper series mainly consist of anthropomorphic animal designs combined with a very comic book aesthetic. Indeed, many of the designs are reflective of comic book design tropes, and as a result of that, characters wear masks, villains look eccentric, and different archetypes are filled. Now before we begin, I should say that what Brett and I say in this video are purely our own opinions, as art can be interpreted in many different ways. Also, we are going to be spoiling major parts of Sly 2's plot, so viewer discretion is advised. Now with everything said, please enjoy episode 7 of Does This Design Work? Anyway, it's a nice sunny day out, spring is approaching, let's talk about raccoons. Anyway, yeah, this is our first design. This is Sly Cooper, who is, of course, the main character, because his name is on every single box, and because he's a thief, he is a raccoon. Those animals steal the most, and they're competing with bears in that kind of stealing category.
Yeah.
So one thing right away I like about his design is just the fact that, like raccoons, like, with their, fur designs, you know, they have, like, it looks like they have masks on their face.
Yeah.
But, you know, Sly just flat out has a mask, and he's never seen without it. Even when in, like, parts of the series where he's, like, wearing disguises, he always wears the superhero mask.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that's actually part of his fur, or if it's a mask, because I see the strings coming off.
Yeah.
So it's kinda awkward.
Kind of like Resident Evil, a lot of the main characters have, like, a color, you know?
Okay, so Sly is blue.
Yeah, and this also applies to the villains as well, although it's not as prominent with them. There's always in Sly 2, there's a point in which you fight the villains for every single villain, and on their health bar they just have, like, a single color. And
Okay.
yeah, that's their color. Although I've probably forgotten most of them. Although you might be able to tell just by their appearances.
So I see he has a little, like, Riddler staff.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a question mark. Although that part of it is not really it's not very blatantly a question mark. It looks like just a weird looking hook.
Yeah, like for climbing onto stuff, or like going on ropes to like zip line.
Yeah. One of the things he does with it is that he swings from hooks, and that's an ability you get later in the game. And I really do like the cane. It's a very simple design, and it's also just a very important object, and you can tell just from the fact that it's, like, featured in this, like, character art.
Sly Cooper is so full of himself, he puts his own logo on his belt.
Yeah. Well, no, it's his calling card, because whenever he steals something, he always puts a little, raccoon symbol on it.
How has he not been caught yet?
Well, no, he's just not, like, I don't know, they're just on the run constantly, I guess. Like, they don't, like, go incognito, or, like, just, like, they don't go out in public ever, from what I can tell, unless they're wearing disguises. So yeah. What do you think about this hat here? I've always been, like, it doesn't really come across as, like, a kind of thief hat, or does it?
I don't know, it kinda, like, makes me think of Victorian England, like, street urchins.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's what they were going for. And, so yeah, this is,
Also, he doesn't wear pants, but he wears boots.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. Depending on the character, they just don't wear pants or boots. I think every single female character in the series does wear pants, but most of the male characters do not. So,
well, that's just regular furry stuff.
Yeah, for, like, those types of designs. And anyway, this is a nice, straightforward design. You want to take a look at our next one?
Sure.
So, so Sly has his hat, right?
Yes.
And, Murray also has some headgear. And I've always been perplexed by the fact that Bentley was wearing what looks like a safari hat throughout pretty much all of Sly 2. And it's like, is this just his version of, like, I'm going out into the wild, so I gotta wear safari gear when I go out into the wild of, like, the streets?
And shoot him with my crossbow?
Yeah, which, like, this crossbow looks, like, more lethal than it is. Because you just see this point right here and you think that's gonna kill someone, but no, it's just sleep darts.
Yeah, that's what the bombs are for.
Yeah, the bombs are for the killing. And you can probably tell also that Bentley's design is like his color's green.
Yeah, because he's a turtle.
Yep. Well, some turtles are blue? I don't know. If anything, I like his... Something I forgot to say about the Sly designs, I really like how his face just looks so confident and like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
While
and
Bentley
stuff.
looks more serious.
Yeah, he looks more rigid. He looks like a very rigid turtle, and his glasses are like... His glasses are pretty much his eyeballs, because I think if you actually take it off, his eyes are just dots.
Okay.
You know, that cartoon aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really cool. And other than that, I mean, not much else to say.
He has, like, really short, stubby legs, because he's a turtle.
Yeah. Like, I remember, like, being that these designs are pretty simplistic, and thus we're probably not gonna have much to say about most of them. And that just reminds me of a time where I was, with my uncle during Christmas, and we were looking at 2 art books, and, like, he was all like, oh, this Dark Souls 2 art book is really cool, a lot of art goes into it. And I show him the Zelda one, and he just doesn't really care for it because all the designs are so simple, and there's just not much to say about them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one?
It's called Zelda Art and Artifacts.
Oh, right, it was like all of them up to
Yeah.
Skyward, or up to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and had that special preview art for Breath of the Wild, which was nice, although I got that book way into its release, so not really. But anyway, want to take a look at our next design?
Sure.
Alright, so this is Murray, and how appropriate that Murray, being the strongest, is the strongest animal in the universe, which is the hippo.
Hippos kill so many people.
Yeah, like there's no other animal that can beat a hippo, like, head on. So something that's always interested me about Murray's design is the fact that he's both, like, a chubby guy and a tough guy at the same time. Because he has, like, these muscular arms, but he also has a big, huge gut belly.
Yeah, like the one on the left more emphasizes like the chubbiness, while
Yeah.
the one on the right shows more of the muscles.
Yeah, but, like, like, it's such a weird, like... Because hippos are large animals, but Murray's also, like, the strong guy, so he's just both. And also, he's like the big, lovable guy who eats a lot of food, but he's also a big, lovable brute at the same time. And it's just such a... Like, I just find it such a very interesting part of his design overall.
Yeah, so he seems to have like a sort of mask on.
Yeah, it looks like some sort of aviator thing. Like, it looks like he's wearing goggles, and because it's a cartoon design, they're also his eyes.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah, it's a pretty it's a pretty straightforward design. I read somewhere that apparently there's a comic that explains why he doesn't have pants.
Oh,
And
really?
it's because he can't find any in his size.
Really, in this world full of like bears and stuff.
Yeah, there are characters who are larger than Murray that have pants. So, that's a weird little, like, detail. I gotta say, both of his arts, like, he looks more tough than anything with his face. Like, he doesn't have that kind of sensitive bit in these
Yeah.
arts that he comes to be known for, especially in Sly 3. But yeah, so now we've looked at all 3 of, like, the Cooper gang, something that is really cool about their designs is that they, like, their silhouettes individually are super different from each other.
Yeah.
And that also just helps by that they're animals, but, like, that's just a really cool thing.
Yeah, Sly is thin and has his tail. Murray's large and tall.
Yeah.
And Bentley is short.
He's like half the size of Sly. Well, anyway, want to take a look at our next design?
Sure.
Alright. Okay, so when I was growing up and playing it, like, so this is the design, and I've told you a few times, like, I'm surprised I didn't become a furry, because this is what I grew up with, is this, like, just this sex fox design.
Like, she even has cleavage.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, it's not, you don't notice it in the game that much, but, like, this is, like, the official Sly 2 art, and it's like, damn. So as I stated before, she wears pants, and you can't see it here because the art got cut off here when I was grabbing this picture, but you can probably just assume that she's wearing, like, very long, like, fuck you boots.
Yeah.
So I think Carmelita is just meant to be like a very blatant representation of a trope that I learned about yesterday called the fair cop. And that is just a cop who is like very beautiful and capable. And like this is just a very prevalent trope throughout certain cop shows, like CSI Miami and a couple films. Just like hot lady cops.
Because she is Sly's potential love interest.
Yeah, she's the other half of this really weird and abusive relationship. Man, her hair doesn't appear like this in the game at all. They have to, like...
tone it down for the engine.
Like, I think her hair is actually just shorter in the game itself, and it does have, like, a bit of the curls, but the curls are bigger because, you know, you can't have super detailed polygons on that.
Yeah, not on the PS2.
Yeah. I wonder if they changed it at all in Sly 4. I forget. And I do want to forget about Sly 4. But yeah, she's just like... Also, so something that so she's a fox, and foxes are known to be thieves in like various forms of media, but in an ironic twist, she's the cop.
Yeah.
And she's a super stubborn, angry, black and white cop. I'm gonna shoot all the criminals.
Even the ones that aren't committing crimes right now.
Yeah. I'll just go into a prison and shoot them for fun. My pistol's non-lethal, so it's fine.
Is that actually what happens?
No. Also, I remember reading in, like, the comics it implies that she actually has a good amount of fun with her job, just running after criminals and beating them up and arresting them.
I see, so that's how she gets her kicks, chasing Sly.
So, yeah, so Sly and Carmelita they have this mutually abusive relationship that works out in the end. Because they both love, like, punking each other.
Didn't you say once that, like, Sly's like, oh man, this is so much fun, and Bentley's like, you're the one that's in love with her?
I forget the exact context, I think it was in Sly 3, and like, Sly was just super lax about dealing with Carmelita, and Bentley just flat out tells him, okay, I just want to say that you're the only one who feels that way. Okay, that distinction is very important. Oh yeah, so because she has to have a very, like, skin showing of fur design, you know, her police badge is just her collar. Which is super weird also. But yeah. Anyway, so her name is Carmelita Montoya Fox, and fun fact, that's a reference to Montoya from Batman.
Okay, yeah. Also a female cop.
Yeah, so originally, Carmelita was gonna be this design, and it could be named Inspector Chase Montoya Fox. Now, you know why she was gonna be called Inspector Chase?
No.
Because she chases Sly.
I thought it was gonna be a reference. I didn't think it would be that dumb.
Well, you know,
I wanted to give them more credit than that.
It's a cartoon, you know, kinda... I mean, Sly is named Sly. And there's a few other things with the villain characters we'll be looking at.
I suppose. I just thought they would... I was giving them too much credit.
Yeah, well, luckily, you know, they just changed it to Carmelita, because that just sounds like the most blatantly beautiful female name ever. So, yeah.
Are you sure you didn't grow up to be a furry?
I did not. Okay, listen, this is what I'm into, right? I'm gonna say this on video. It has to be a regular human, but just with the ears and the tail. Anything beyond that is not okay with me.
Okay.
That's why I like Holo, because it looks adorable, but she's also just a human. She's mostly a human.
Okay.
I think there's a real-life scale on the internet where it's like, how much of a furry are you? And there's like just a slider for like how morphed is the furry character, and how okay are you with that?
So on one...
And at the end of the meter is just flat-out bestiality, I think.
So let me guess. On one end is just a girl wearing a hairband with cat ears on it.
That's probably it. Yeah.
And on the other end is a talking dog.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's probably just fucking Brian from Family Guy.
No, he walks on two legs. That's not enough.
Oh, so he's like 95% of the way on the scale.
Yeah. Okay,
but he's the closest. Well, Where does the Fishman from Shape in the Water, where on the scale does he?
He's about in the middle because he's humanoid
Yeah,
with
yeah.
animal features.
Okay, yeah. Alright. We could do an entire video on that scale, maybe. I don't know.
No.
Alright, then let's move on to our next designs.
Scooby-Doo's on the far end of the...
Anyway, so this is Neela, and she is Constable Neela, and she is working with the cops, but is also working with Sly in Sly 2.
Okay, so before we did this, I played the first section of Sly 2.
You played like World 1 out of 8.
Okay, and when Neela started to help you, I immediately said, she's gonna betray you.
And later I was all like, okay, yeah, you just flat out guessed that. So she is meant to be, so the first time you find Neela, you're in Egypt, and she's kind of just representative of that. Like, she's an Egyptian cat. That's her design.
Okay.
And it even goes further, like, I don't have the picture, but, like, there's a part where she has her hood off, and she has, like, just, like, this pharaoh hair, where it's, like, very silky and slicked back.
Alright.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I can sort of see that with, like, the hood. She has, like, a headband, the Indiana Jones whip, and a knife on her boot.
Yeah, she also has, like, a little, jewel on top here, which is interesting, and kind of just sells the whole Egyptian part of it. And she has a different variant of fuck you boots than Carmelita. They look more like hiking fuck you boots, but, you know.
I'm not sure how good those would be in the sand, but...
Yeah. Well, she's always on the rooftops anyway. So she apparently isn't just a cat, she's actually a tiger as well, and I guess you can sort of tell that by the way the stripes on her person go.
Okay.
And yeah, I guess that's why she's showing, like, that much skin, other than being another sexy furry character.
Do most of the other animals in this have, like, weird colors for, like, what they are?
I know there's, like, a purple alligator in, like, Sly 3, and Mugshot is, like... There's a character called Mugshot. He's a gorilla, and he's purple, and he has, like, a blue mustache.
Okay.
So, it kind of just, like... The colors are more or less just chosen just to make the game colorful.
Alright.
Like, yeah. And then there's, like, you know, Carmelita, and orange is just a naturally colorful color.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So, like, what do you think about the whip?
It's a weird choice for a cop to have.
Yeah, it's not standard issue for sure. You don't open up a lockbox and grab a whip.
It seems like it's a gateway to another fetish.
Yeah, or it might be just a blatant reference to, like, Catwoman.
Maybe.
I mean, considering the reference to the other Batman reference, maybe the writers are just fans of that and just thought, hey, you know what goes good with cats? Whips.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Or, like, Indiana Jones with the whole Egypt thing.
Yeah. Also, like, so she's a very mischievous character. We've established this earlier. And I think it's also appropriate that she just has a knife at her foot. Although, oddly enough, I can't remember if that's on her 3D design at all. And she never uses it, so it doesn't end up really mattering at the end. Plus, knives are kind of a PG-13 weapon. So she can't use it.
Yeah, Sly is rated E10.
Sly 2 is E. Sly 3 is E10, because I think they, like, have pirates that drink alcohol in that game.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, there's a few more murders and violence in that game.
That isn't from Sly?
Like, Sly 3 overall is just a bit more mature than Sly 2. Sorry, what was that previous?
You mean from people that aren't Sly?
Yeah,
that kill people?
Well, there's, like, I think, like a villain in Sly 3 just gets eaten by the Kraken. And you hear it happen.
Okay.
Also, Sly 3 has a new version of the flashback scene where his dad dies, and you see his silhouette slowly fall to the ground as the shadows reflected onto Sly's crying face as he's hiding behind the closet. It's the most brutal depiction of that thus far.
Man, you tell me that flashback plays in every game.
Yeah, and it gets more... And after, like, looking it up, it just gets more and more brutal up to Sly 3. Because in Sly 3, he's crying, in Sly 2, he's not crying. And in Sly 1 has, like, a more minimalist art style, so it's like...
Yeah, I think I remember it just shows his cane falling out of his hand or something.
Yeah, I think something like that, yeah. Well, anyway, Want to take a look at our first Claw Gang member?
Sure.
Alright. Alright, this is Dimitri Lousteau. I didn't know he had a last name until I looked it up on the wiki. Maybe that was added in 3 or 4. But anyway, like, this guy is a professional lounge lizard. Ha 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 ha.
So, this is the guy that I fought in, like, the first world.
Yeah. And, like, he just looks like... Because, like, his like, jacket and pants are, like, shiny looking. At least in this art, like, not in the game too much. And, you know, he has, like... And he's, like, exposing a bunch of his chest. Like, he thinks he's a... And he has a little... And he also has, like, jewelry on his fingers. Like, he is a...
He's like a fashionista.
Yeah. And that is, like, goes with his character. His character is an artist in more ways than one. So this is the weirdest art, because I never saw this in Sly 2 in-game, but it was on, like, the wiki page, so I thought I also just grabbed stuff from the, CGs that were in his intro, because I think they also say things about his character. Mainly, the bottom left one right here. Just look at this cool guy.
Yeah,
he has the paintings, he has the money, he's got the bling.
Yeah, he's living it up.
Yeah. All I had to do was steal. All I had to do was steal real good.
And forge paintings.
Yep. Oh, there we go. It's the Mona Dimitri.
Oh, is that a cigarette?
Oh yeah, he's a smoke. Yeah, he's one of the. In the wiki, it lets you know he's one of the 4 characters in the entire universe that smokes.
Oh, how is this not rated E10?
I don't know. Maybe that's why. Maybe ESRB adjusted in between the years 2004 and 2005. I think that's when Sly 2 came out in 2004. I know Sly 3 came out in 2005. But yeah, maybe they, like, made it more strict. And, like, Kingdom Hearts 2 in 2005, that was also rated E10 just for the alcohol in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Okay.
Although I feel like, I don't know, maybe the violence in general in Kingdom Hearts 1 could have warranted it in E10. But it's really weird.
Yeah, I remember, like, when they added the E10 rating. I don't remember, like, what year it was, though. But I started noticing, like, more and more games had it.
Yeah. I guess I feel like it had to happen, like, in between 2004 and 2005. Some dudes had a meeting and they're all like, okay, we actually do need to distinguish between a certain level of violence. And, like, yeah.
I mean, there's a difference between the cosmic horror of Kirby and Kingdom Hearts.
Isn't Kirby, like, the one, All-Star Allies, isn't that E10 right now? I feel like it is.
No, I'm pretty sure most Kirby games are E.
Okay.
Because all it has is just Kirby devouring his opponents.
Yeah, but it's cute looking, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, what are your thoughts on this design before we move on?
It's good.
Yeah.
It tells, like, what kind of, like, villain he is.
Yeah. So, fun fact immediately, so you see this, like, red sash he's wearing?
He doesn't have it in-game.
He doesn't have it in-game, and you can probably guess why.
It's too hard to animate.
It's too hard. He just has, like, a tiny little vest in place of it. So you learned a bit about Rajan's backstory before we ended our play session yesterday.
Yes, he was born in poverty and then worked his way up by stealing.
Yep, and now he wants to convince people that he's a king.
Yeah, like, he even has his own, like, ancestral palace.
Yeah, said in quotes in that narration, ancestral palace. And, like, just, first of all, I never noticed these shoes, they look fucking ridiculous. It looks like his feet are just really tiny, and then he just overcompensates once it gets to that part. Although I like how, like, in general, like, Rajan is, like, despite everything, is a very tough character. He's a very tough and strong character, and I love just, like, how scary he looks in this art.
Yeah, you gotta survive like that in the streets.
Yeah. And, like, you know, he has, like, giant fucking hands, and, and I've already referenced it, but, like, he's just dressed in, like, lavish royalty garments.
Yeah. Also, he's a regularly, colored tiger.
Yep. Yeah, I read the thing on the wiki that's all, like, Neela and Rajan are the same type of tiger, and I'm all like, why is this an important detail that exists? It seems pretty trivial, and I just thought, like, Neela was just a cat. But yeah, I mean, I guess they do have, like, similar-looking stripes. Although Neela has more of a human face than Rajan. Rajan has a proper tiger face.
Well, yeah, he's farther on the furry scale.
Yeah, yeah. Also, he has like a weird kind of beard. That's his fur thing.
Yeah.
Which is cool looking. So Rajan's character, everyone except Dimitri and the later Clockwork member Arpeggio have two worlds in which you fight them in, because they possess multiple Clockwork parts.
Okay.
So you steal from them multiple times. And at the end of World 2, Rajan goes through a bit of a change, and I thought it'd be important that I show how it affects his design.
Alright. What?
He goes a little nuts, because, like, he's run out of his palace and now is on the run.
Okay.
So now he's going a little nuts, and he's, like, in this cave instead of a palace, and he's all like, at least I still have the Clockwork Heart.
And soon I'll have Slies.
Oh, yeah, ooh. So other than, like, his expression here, not much else has changed about his design, but I just thought, like this is interesting. This face right here, like,
oh, yeah.
I'm doing alright.
Like, his life's work has just been ruined.
Yeah.
What a hero Sly is.
Well, Rajan was I should flat out say, Rajan is distributing drugs.
Oh, you mean spice?
Yeah, spice. Like, you hear the word, okay, when you're a kid, you know, and you first play this game, you hear the word spice, and you're all like, I know what that is. But then later you find out that, oh, people who take too much spice, go in these, like, rage-induced fits in which they feel the need to just smash everything around them. And then the adult you goes, okay, they're drugs.
Yeah, like, just calling drugs spice, like, I think that's how Star Wars The Clone Wars was able to disguise that as well. Like, they made a trade deal with, like, some outlaws because they kidnapped Dooku, and he's all like, yeah, I'll give you Dooku if you give me, like, all this spice.
All this cocaine spice.
Yeah.
Imagine if, like, the drug just made you hallucinate, then it'd be even more blatant, like, okay, it's LSD. That's what Rajan is growing. But, anyway, any more thoughts on this design?
Not really.
I think it's I should say that I just think this is a really cool design. Because he's a pretty, like, one of the more threatening members of the Claw Gang, and this design definitely depicts that.
Yeah, like, putting on a royal appearance.
Yeah. Also, Rajan, his name is actually a bit more subtle than, like, Sly Carmelita Fox. Raja in Sanskrit means king.
Okay.
So there you go.
Maybe he changed it.
Maybe, yeah. Like I was gonna say before. Like, is that your real name, Rajan, or is that just the name you told people you have? All right. So Contessa is also a member of the Claw Gang, but she is actually introduced as the head commissioner of Interpol and Carmelita's boss until she turns heel and reveals the true plan.
That's not a furry, that's a magic creature.
This is, like, the weirdest fucking, like, design when you consider, like, the whole anthropomorphic universe that Sly takes place in. Like...
That's a fantasy character.
Yeah, like, she's a fucking boss of a cave in an RPG. And it's like... The definition of animal is very blurred in this design. She's just like... It's so weird. It's just so weird that they make a spider into, like, a person in this universe.
Yeah, like, they could have just had, like, shrink down the upper torso into the abdomen, and then, like, have the arms come off, or something. Like make her look like a spider with, like, the face or whatever.
Like, are you saying that, like, that's how close she is to just being a spider or something like that?
I don't know, like, this design seems pretty weird compared to everything else.
Oh, yeah. But it does serve a big thematic things in the game. The fact that, like, her backstory is that it's implied that she poisoned her husband for riches, and her appearance is supposed to be directly based off, like, a Black Widow spider. And when Black Widow spiders mate, the lady kills the male spider.
Yeah, I can see, like, the Black Widow symbol on her, like, belt-ish.
Oh, is that the symbol?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's an hourglass. That's the Black Widow symbol.
Yeah.
Also, why does the spider have a symbol?
It's just printed on the actual Black Widow spider.
Oh, really? Like, on, like, their on their back or something like that.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to identify the actual species.
Huh, very interesting. Yeah. So, like, Contessa looks like the most dangerous anthropomorphic species in all of Sly because her hands are just claws.
Yeah, and she has, like, the glowing red eyes.
Yeah, and, like, she's also, like, a hypnotist, and, like, there's shots of where her eyes are doing the swirl thing.
Okay.
Yeah. That's also what she does. Like, she's a person who, she also, like, owns a prison.
Oh, does she eat the inmates?
No, she hypnotizes them. But I like how, like, I think, like, that episode where you find out about that is just called A Tangled Web, and that's just, like, you understand what that is.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, despite the weirdness of her anthropomorphicness, like, I think this is a really cool design that says a lot about her character.
Yeah,
and
it
how,
just...
like, devious she is and stuff.
Yeah, it just clashes with everything else.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so when you're bringing this guy up, I asked, is he Canadian?
Yep, and I was all like, yeah, how can you tell that?
Bisons are native to North America, and his name is Jean Bison,
Yep.
which sounds French, so I'm just thinking French-Canadian.
Yep, more or less. When I was a kid, I thought it was pronounced Jean Bison, which also sounds cool, in my opinion, but whatever. So this design, you can tell a lot about... Actually, okay, so before we go into what you can tell about him, his backstory is that he was a lumberjack during that time in America where we were just, like, coming in and completely fucking America.
Okay.
And he was, like, chopping trees and stuff.
And then one hit him on the head?
No, and then he decided, I'm gonna blow up a mountain to get stuff. And then he was frozen in ice like Captain America. And then he was unthawed in 1971. And then he, like, due to his outdated ideals, he just became a criminal. And then got a seat within the Claw Gang.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that fucking nuts? And, like, he, like, looks like a caveman. He looks like a guy who came out of the ice.
He's got, like, a big old staff.
Yeah, he has a horn. He has, like, a bear trap just hanging off of him. And he has a couple other weapons on his belt here. And, yeah, he's super Canadian. And, like, all the villains have, like, their own, squad of guards. And, like, you know, John Bassan, he has moose and ducks.
Very Canadian.
Yep, and also I think he has goats, I'm not entirely sure. Because there's always, like, 3 types of guards. But, yeah, anyway, I really love this design. This is probably one of my favorites just because of how, like, it goes so well with his super nuts backstory.
He looks very intimidating with, like, the scar over his eye.
Yeah.
And, like, the red fur.
Yeah. Also, like, I talked about colors earlier, you can probably tell, this guy's red.
Yep.
Like, his health bar is red. And, also later in the game, I don't have a picture of it, but he has the clockwork talons, and they all, like, all 3 talons, like, just kind of circle around the staff here, and it looks really cool. And he uses it to chop trees. And there's, like, this, CG of him, like, chopping a tree with them, and he has, like, a big goofy smile on his face, like, yeah, the trees. I'm killing them all. But, well, first of all, anything else more to say?
Not really, other than, like, asking what's up with his gloves.
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like they're just meant to be, like, you know, gloves that a lumberjack would have to protect his hands or something like that.
Alright, it's just weird that it has, like, the
X?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like gloves Magneto would wear or something.
Yeah, they seem like supervillain gloves for sure. So, fun fact about the name Arpeggio. Arpeggio, means broken chord. It's a music term. And that goes into the fact, like, his backstory is that he can't fly, and he builds machinery to, get around because he can't fly.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's very interesting. What type of intelligence do you think this character is?
I think he believes he's very intelligent.
Yes.
Just from the monocle.
Yes.
And the fancy, like, suit.
Yeah, and he has, like, this cloak where he's all like, I'm a genius, So I think based on the colors, he's a parrot.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. Also notice his hair is, like, his hair's kind of, like, characteristic of, like, I guess old medieval English hair.
I'd say with the hat, he kind of looks like Christopher Columbus.
Yeah, and that goes into the fact that, like, there's, like, a CG where he's just, like, walking out of this, like, art museum, and that's supposed to imply that, oh, he's very into the arts and the plays and the Shakespeares and stuff.
Alright.
And yeah, so, like, yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't get a better shot of it, but yeah, he has this big machine that's like a bird cage, and there's like a bunch of gears below here, and that's how he gets around, because he just doesn't want to walk. And he can't fly, so yeah.
Walking is for peasants.
Yeah. Well, also, he can't fly. Like his whole motivation is like, I want to learn how to fly.
Oh, so it's not that he can't, he just doesn't know how.
He just doesn't know how. Yeah. There's these two amazing CGs that occur during his backstory, where it shows, like, him next to two other birds, and they're, like, growing in like, height and wingspan, and he's just the same size throughout his entire childhood, and it's like, oh, that sucks for you, Arpeggio.
The virgin Arpeggio versus the Chad birds.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what that shot is. Yeah, I like this design a whole lot. It's just like... And he's not in the game as long as the other Claw Gang members, because he only has, like, one world associated with him. But I think, you know, his design does say a lot about his character, especially when you consider the machinery. Also, I like the whole, like, motif of, like, a bird cage. Like, he builds this machinery, but he's kind of, like, brought down by it, too.
Yeah.
Which is very deep, for considering how blatant a lot of these designs are. But, anyway, any last thoughts?
Not really.
Yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at our final design. Okay, so Clockwork has a lot of stuff going for him in terms of his design. And because of that, I was really, like, unsure of, like... I didn't really think there was a single picture that really depicted him in the most honest way. Because, like, in the beginning of the game, you see, like, oh, he's, like, this bird, and he has, like, a bit of humanity left because he has pupils. But then suddenly he's this machine, and he's less of a person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, Clockwork is the nemesis of the Cooper line.
Yeah, he's been trying to wipe them out for years, and he made himself an immortal robot body just so he could continue to make those attempts.
I think I read somewhere he's also, like, run on hate?
Yeah, he's literally runs on hate. It's like, it's a very, like, Gurren Lagann thing going on. And the only, like, yeah. If he, like, I guess, like, it's implied that if he didn't hate anything, he just, like, stopped moving.
And then he'd hate that he stopped moving.
And then he'd get back up again, yeah! He's unstoppable killing machine.
So what happens if he, like, runs out of Coopers to kill?
I don't know, he'll find people that he talked to.
Ooh, that guy cut me off in traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. It's so weird, and like his backstory is always ambiguous. You just know that he's just this crazy motherfucker who just wants to kill Coopers. So he does have a 3D model, and so I just left this here because this is just a cropped of a picture of his 3D model in the game. And I felt it'd be wrong if I just didn't leave the watermark here of the guy who cropped it.
Okay.
So, whoever you are, XPS, thank you for doing this. Because there's no transparent PNG of his 3D model anywhere else. But yeah, this is what his 3D model looks like. And it looks so scary, like he's coming at you.
So, in Sly 4, which is the time travel one, I read that every age you go to, there's a hidden Clockwork hanging in the background staring at you.
Yeah, and that is cool, except for the time where he appears in 10,000 BC. How did he get the technology back before that time to make himself a motherfucking robot body? I just don't think that makes sense.
The power of hate.
But it makes even less sense when you realize that in 10,000 BC, you meet the first Cooper, who's just some dumb caveman who steals bird eggs.
So they stole Clockwork's eggs?
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's the reason. That's like Cooper killed Clockwork's children. That's actually a kind of a reasonable thing that's a reasonable reason for Clockwork to enact this entire plan, maybe.
No, I don't think that accounts for like 12,000 years of hatred.
Yeah.
Like, I think after like 2 or 3 generations, you're about even.
Yeah. Clockwork, I don't think, like, I think it's implied that, like, Sly Cooper's dad was the only one that Clockwork got to. But I'm not entirely sure on that. And that was the time where Clockwork hired, like, the Fiendish Five and, like, and took him down with 5 people. So he cheated, much like, Siegfried did.
No, Sieg. Not Siegfried.
Oh, yeah.
Sieg.
Yeah. So, like, I just love, like, you know, so what animal do you think Clockwork is?
Well, the eyebrows kind of remind me owl.
Yeah.
But he looks more like falcon eagle-ish.
Yeah, but he is just an owl, which is very weird because, like, first of all, he's the most non-anthropomorphic design out of the ones we've looked at.
So he's at the end of the scale?
Yeah. He does talk, though, so it's like 98, 97%, you know? I don't know if the robot parts really count for anything. I mean, is he still an animal when he has the robot parts? I don't know.
Does this unit have a soul?
Yeah.
It does, but it runs on hate.
Yeah. Hey, you're a real human being if you hate things. Also, apparently, like, his talons, like, owls have, 3 in the front and, 1 in the back, I think. But these talons explicitly look like an eagle's talons, because they have, like, 2 in the front, 1 in the back.
So he's just a mix of both.
Yeah, but he is, like, officially an owl.
Okay.
And, like, you get it most from this. Like, his face here looks so much like an owl.
Yeah.
But this, like, is, like his face is, like, it's not as, like, smushed as an owl's face should be in, like, this picture. And, like, this, you just can't tell really anything. Except for anger.
Yeah, Angry Bird.
Yeah, Angry Bird. The first Angry Bird in video game history. Man, if I could play as Clockwork in one of those fucking dumb games, I might get that game.
The level would be over.
Yeah.
Instantly.
All I had to do is put, like, a Cooper symbol on, like, the Fortress of Pigs, and then he just used his fire breath, his super lasers, his electro rings. Clockwork is a very nuts boss fight, by the way. He has a lot of weird things in his arsenal.
So did he have those in 10,000 BC, or did he add them later on down the line?
I have no fucking idea. Because in the Easter egg in Sly 4, he looks blatantly more like an owl instead of his, like, much larger design. I should say that Sly, in comparison to Clockwork, is like the size of, like, Sly's about, like, this big. Yeah, compared to Clockwork.
Oh wow, when you said that Clockwork was huge, you weren't kidding.
I was not kidding. Yeah, and he's super big in Sly 1 and as well. But yeah, in Sly 4, he's just like a regular owl size, which is why he's kind of hard to spot in the level. Because if he was like as big as he was in Sly 2 and Sly 1, he'd be pretty easy to spot. You wouldn't miss him.
There'd be a lot less Coopers.
Oh yeah. I guess at some point he decided to upgrade. Maybe it was right before Sly 1, and then he's all like, yeah, now that I'm a frickin' total monster, I can totally punk Sly Cooper's dad. But yeah, this is like, Clockwork is a really interesting character for like his ambiguity and just like how he runs on hate. And this design, like these, I guess, pictures really portray that pretty well. But I guess do you have any last thoughts before we end off?
Not really.
Okay. Well then, since this is our last design, Brett, what did you think about the designs overall?
A lot of them are really interesting, but
yeah.
Although the scale of like anthropomorphism is rather bizarre.
I feel like it's more like just with Contessa alone, it's almost like they're very lenient with what could be considered to be proper anthropomorphism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you have talking birds.
Yeah.
And then you just have, like, human upper body, lower body of spider.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty weird. I gotta say, like, I love Sly, Murray, and Bentley's design, but they are a whole lot more simple than, like, the villain designs. And I feel like that's just because, like, the villains, you don't see them for as long, and thus you kind of have to, like, get out what they are in that short period of time they are there.
Yeah, you gotta make them more memorable.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that's probably the reason. I wonder when that Sly movie is gonna come out.
Never.
Never. That's probably the answer. Also, I wonder if that Ratchet & Clank movie was any good.
Probably not.
Probably not.
From what I heard, like, you're better off just playing the game.
Yeah. They had a game based off the movie based off the game with that one. And
Yeah.
It's free on PSN this month, by the way.
Oh. I probably won't get it.
Yeah, I downloaded it, but I haven't touched it. Because, I don't know, maybe I want to play the previous Ratchet & Clanks.
I never played any of the games.
Yeah, well, like when you're growing up with Sony, you know, it's either Ratchet & Clank or someone else. Or Crash, or whatever. Or Sly. Or Parappa the Rapper.
Or Knack.
No, not Knack. Knack is not growing up with nothing.
But Knack 2.
Knack 2, baby! From what I hear, they fixed a lot of that game's problems, but just the story is still devoid of charm. That's the main issue, it seems.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
Knack would be up there with Mario and Sonic.
Well, first they need to fix his dumb character design. And then maybe he'll be up there with Mario and Sonic, or Sly, or Jack, or anyone cooler than him. Well, anyway, that's the end of this video. If you like this video and you want to see more like it, please consider liking or commenting. It's very encouraging. And if you have any other suggestions for stuff we could do for Does This Design Work? Future episodes of Does This Design Work? Please let us know. And with that said, thank you for watching.